Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints. My name's Connor. I'm a science fiction, politics, and philosophy nerd, a Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran. I would argue a real Republican, a rhino Republican, somebody with integrity, nuance, and objectives. However, today, I'm not going to lie, I'm winging it a little bit. We got Destiny the Streamer. We got a bunch of students in LA, some of them conservative, some of them liberal and progressive, fighting liberals and progressives for the UFA, Unfudge America event. It gets a little spicy. There's some spicy clips that came out of this event. So we're going to be pausing intermittently, breaking it down, et cetera, et cetera. Effectively, what's going on, though, just to kind of give you a snapshot of the time that we're in right now, is the Democrats are trying to rally and organize sufficiently the left wing and the Never Trump coalition in order to have a good midterm result that stomps the crap out of Trump. And it seems like the conservatives are grasping at straws in order to maintain the moral and political high ground. That's my diagnosis of the current event. Let's go.
The auto pen doesn't count.
The auto pen, you know they dropped that investigation because it was complete and total right? Do you acknowledge that you are to believe that Biden was signing an executive order via auto pen? And then we brought in Trump, and then he basically went to war with Iran twice.
Yeah, I don't know why he's doing that. That's not in America's interest. So that's why I think he's possibly being blackmailed. Like, bro,
maybe he's just a president and you're for voting for him. Is that possible? Are you for open borders or mass migration?
No, I'm not. No.
Why?
Because these people from these other countries will ruin America.
When you say ruin America, because they have different values, right?
Different
Why is it that when
values,
Republicans talk about healthcare, you guys sound like you have the values of like an African warlord?
You guys want to get drunk every weekend and get mad
about?
when the taxes go up or when this happens. You guys don't do
You're one of the highest tax states in the country. What are you talking about? People are mad about the taxes.
And what do you do every weekend? Help your own people.
So,
okay.
All right.
No, don't leave.
Right,
come
brave.
back.
All right. Destiny, you have been accused of talking to 17-year-old girls on the internet. Your son is apparently a who has condemned you publicly. You were not famous for much of anything before JonTron, and then you went on to Adam22, debated Nick Fuentes, and after joining with a man who spent his career exploiting the black-on-black violence and gangsterism in LA and black communities, you now are telling me that you want to unfuck America. It seems to me that you've never been pictured with a woman who doesn't look up to you because you might be intimidated by a woman's intelligence. Why should I trust you? Why should I trust you to care about Latinos if I can't trust you with your own son?
Is this a political debate or a fucking rap battle? All right. Get out your brooms. Get out your DGG brooms. Let's start sweeping. So, number one, Steven wasn't sexting a 17-year-old. He was sexting a 40-year-old man who was posing as a 19-year-old woman who in real life was actually 17 and a half. I love how the sweep is worse. Number two, Nathan is an edgy boy. I think that Nathan has seen Destiny create his own, allegedly. I think Nathan has seen Destiny create a digital media career out of being controversial. And so he's playing with controversial ideas for attention. I think he's admitted as much. Obviously, I do think that we need to encourage Nathan, especially once he becomes an adult. He's still a minor, so I'm not going to be interacting with him. But especially when he becomes an adult, we need to gently encourage him to make better decisions, right? And then what I'll say is that Steven, allegedly, according to him, according to sources in the field, has not done anything stupid since February. And I'm gonna applaud Steven for not doing anything stupid since February. Wait. Not February of this year. I don't think. I think it was February of last year. So that's almost a full year. That's almost a year of not being stupid. So good for Steven. We have fun.
Okay, so a lot of things going on here. So The difference between my court case and Trump, who was convicted or held liable for rape or whatever, is that I'm winning my court case. Okay, you're always welcome to read through my documents. I do not talk to 17-year-olds, except for when I was 17 and I dated one in high school. But you're welcome to dig through that on your own. Number two, I'm not going to sit here and answer for or defend or attack my 14-year-old son's tweets online. If you want, you're welcome to go and debate him or argue with anything. But yeah, I mean, like he's on his own little political journey. We chat. I don't know if you imagine that a parent can make his child copy his political views and take these online and do these one for one verbatim. Generally, this is not how it works. If he's 18 and he's still a Nazi, you can come and talk to me. I don't think he's a neo-Nazi right now. I think he's just very edgy on the internet. And then what was your last thing? What does this have to do with Latinos?
Why should Latinos trust you to care about us and not just do this for the internet so you can talk to girls? Why?
I just don't really
should I trust you? Why should I trust you over any other white person that has come into my neighborhoods?
He has Latino friends. I'm right here.
Why? Why should we trust you guys?
Born in Mexico, you know?
Americans want to know why it was so easy for the Democratic Party to open up migrant shelters in New York and they can't run a homeless shelter. Why? Why should we give you that much power? Why should
I think these are two very different types of problems.
It seems to me that you want my problem with a lot of so-called leftists in this country is that they want me to condemn the United States. Great. The moment I condemn you, do you really hate Trump, or do you need me to hate him alongside of you so that you can convince me that you're moral and give you some kind of power over me in my life?
Okay, I don't know what kind of demons you're boxing in your free time or in the shadows or whatever, but when it comes to like doing a political analysis and figuring out who's going to make your life better, who's going to do what for you, firstly, I'm never going to hear moral grandstanding from people that supported the grab him by the pussy guy. I just think that's insane to me.
I supported him.
Number one.
I said,
number
why
two.
should I support you?
Number two. Well, you have to support one side or the other. It's a two-party system, right? That's how it works in big boy world. You can shake your head all you want, but at the end of the day, you're either voting for the Democrats or the Republicans, or your vote just doesn't matter. That's just how it works in our system. If you're mad about that, go cry somewhere else about it. Look prospectively.
Malcolm X had no value then. Malcolm X, who said we should take care of our own communities, we should become self-determined.
I'm sorry, did Malcolm X run third party for president that we had the opportunity to vote for? What does that have to do?
Because I'm saying,
anything?
what moral qualities do you have that make you?
All right. So this is a debate. I'm trying to do something that love your enemy. Okay. There's this scripture in the Bible. I'm trying to be a better creator. I'm trying to blaze my own path a little bit more. And there's this concept called love your enemy, which is effectively like, when somebody asks you for your cloak, give him, or asks you for your jacket, give him your cloak as well. If somebody asks you to walk 1 mile with him, then walk 2 miles. If somebody, slaps you in the face, then offer him the other cheek. And it's just this Christian conception that, like, we're all flawed, we're all fucked up, we're all evil, we're all self-interested, we're all this, we're all that. And so, as a result, the best thing we can do to each other, or do for each other and with each other, is be kind. And not just be kind, but try to understand each other, right? And so, this is where I'm going to try to steel man this gentleman rather than just calling him an R slur. So, if you take a look at the political system right now, you do have a binary choice between Democrats and Republicans. And in my opinion, it's pretty clear that the Democrats are the lesser of two evils. And I think that Trump has proved that within the past year. But what this guy said that I'm sympathetic to, that I think Destiny totally missed, it's like, why should we give the federal government, the state government, the central government, why should we give them any more power to tax us, regulate us, take our taxes, and run social programs when they've proven to not be good stewards of our money? And some of the problems that they said they would fix, they've exacerbated. Would it not be better for us to not want the government to be involved in every single aspect of everyday Americans' lives, and then leave some of the wealth untaxed in the American people? That way they can use it the best way they see fit. And we should work a little bit more on community development, voluntarism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the problem with this mentality, in my opinion, is that if you believe in this good faith, as I do, oftentimes what happens with the upper echelons of society is that they don't engage in voluntarism. They don't go down and volunteer at the local animal shelter. They don't volunteer at the local homeless shelter. They don't hand out soup. They don't, provide housing to the homeless. What they do is they just buy another fucking jet. You know what I'm saying? They buy another. I did not vote Democrat in local elections. I did evaluate candidates and policies on a case-by-case basis. So the problem is that this, if you truly believe this the way that I do, that we should be more voluntary and we should engage in community improvement, then I feel like this guy and I, sincerely believing that, we're often used as a political cudgel by the ultra-rich to evade taxes.
Why should I think that you're going to
working there.
America?
I'm trying to respond. You had a whole bunch of stuff that you were excited to
okay.
read off your Wikipedia article about me. Okay, don't worry, I'm getting there.
Okay, dude.
So we can go back and we can look at the presidents that were elected, and we can see if we feel like they delivered for the American people in any way, size, shape, or form. We can go back to Bush, and we can see that we got quagmired into two decades-long wars, basically, in the Middle East. We can see all of the fallout that came from that.
And Bill Clinton destroyed the middle class, too.
All of the spending from that, okay. All of the downstream negative effects. And when Bush left office, he left Obama with the global financial meltdown, basically.
I think Obama did very well, and he is not representative of the Democratic Party.
I think that's great that you can say that, but he was an insanely popular politician who managed to get us the Affordable Care Act, which didn't go as far as a lot of people, me included, would have wanted it to go, but it was a step, ideally, in a good direction.
Obama.
Did you just say that Obama?
Well, he's diverting. Don't let him. Hold on. Real quick. Let me catch up tomorrow. Then you can. Yeah. Okay.
You're not Obama.
Secondly, when
Who
the
are you to
Republicans
unfuck
came
America?
in, their first goal under Trump was to destroy the ACA. I don't remember Trump delivering anything substantial for the American people in 4 years, other than deficit spending, incentivized tax cuts. He cut everybody's taxes to run up the deficit, which was the one thing that Republicans said they didn't want to do. And then he left us with a nation in crisis for COVID. Then Biden had to come in. He had to clean that up. He had to create millions of jobs. He had to bring us back from the brink of not only COVID, but also the weird energy kind of like supply shock that happened 2 years after COVID, also because of the starting of the war in Ukraine, also because of the starting of the war in Israel. But despite that, we got monumental funding with things like energy, monumental funding for things like infrastructure. We finally had an IRS that was going to be staffed with enough people to do things to enforce our actual tax code. We had prosecutions of criminals.
But Chico says, if you voted for Kamala, then maybe you should sit this next round out. What do you mean? What? Machiko, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a mistype, but I don't know how you could possibly believe that Donald Trump hasn't absolutely fucked shit up for the past year. I don't know how you can look at the Trump administration and think it's anything other than an unmitigated disaster. I can't believe that Donald Trump still has defenders. It's that big of a fuck up.
Across the country, the government was running more or less well. Now Trump is coming again. Now we've got. I just filled up my car for now. This is in this is in Florida even for $5.20 a gallon, which is insane to me. Okay, and we're going to war with every country on the planet. We're abducting leaders. I don't see where any of the improvements for the average American are. Like, so you ask me, like, where is the moral authority from the Democratic Party? I guess to run the country.
Party. I said from you.
Okay. I will give you that argument. Don't vote for me, I guess. I'm not running for office. Like, what do you want me to say? What?
We're advocating for a better government, not a better destiny.
Why can the Democratic Party...
Dude, whoever this fucking Jewish Latino bro is, we're advocating for a better government, not a better destiny. I'm advocating for a better destiny as well. I'm more optimistic about a better government than I am a better destiny. But hey, maybe Destiny will pull a fast one on us. Maybe he'll pull an old fast one on us.
Do that argument. Don't vote for me, I guess. I'm not running for office. Like, what do you want me to say? What?
We're advocating for a better government, not a better destiny.
Why?
Oh my God! If I had a soundboard, that would be going on it.
Why can the Democratic Party run a migrant shelter? It can't run a homeless shelter.
These are two totally. These are two completely.
What is wrong with that? What is hard? That's the question actual Americans want to know. And you're gonna sit here and
I remember. Yeah, the exit polling said when everybody voted for Trump and they walked out of the voting place, they said, "I just can't believe the Democrats can run a migrant shelter and not a homeless shelter." That was
everyone
the biggest issue.
feels that way. That's what people really feel. then I think it's crazy.
You think that's what people are feeling right now?
The two places that you're
It's
talking
still
about that
true,
have the
dude.
most homeless people and the most migrant shelters are all super blue states. So I don't even know what point you
Yeah,
think you're
go to
proving
Skid
here.
Row. It gets worse every year. Black Americans are not happy
it's
with the
not.
situation on the border
No,
across the
California.
country because they're saying, how is it possible that we struck for years in Harlem to get hospitals built, to get homeless shelters built, and within 3 months they were able to build a shelter. I'm Venezuelan. I'm glad that Americans could help out a lot of my people. But I think black Americans do have the right to question democratic governance and say, we've been here the whole time and you guys can't help them? What's that about?
Well, homelessness has actually gone down the last 2 years in
No one
California.
believes that.
Even in, I think in Los Angeles, it's gone down double digits. So there's been progress, but it's a difficult
Fake
problem
news,
to
fake
solve.
news. That's fake news guy.
Okay, it's not that easy to solve, but we inherit 1/5 of the nation's homeless people here because of our nice weather and our accommodating cities and social services. So it's not something you're going to solve overnight. But at least our party is trying to
So
do
how
something.
long do we have to wait?
Well,
How long do we have to wait? What evidence do the American?
So here's my solution.
You said that Donald Trump did all these things. The middle class was wiped out during Biden's
Hold on. Wait,
presidency.
what is the country that has solved homelessness? Like, what do you?
Arguably, Portugal was doing a really good job with it, with the drug interdiction programs of the 2000s and 2010s, and then they reprivatized a healthy chunk of it, and then it got fucked up again.
Asking for what are these demands?
I'm saying,
what, like,
how is
how
it
long do
possible,
we have to wait for you to
how
solve
is it
homelessness, to
possible
solve poverty,
that
to
you
solve
can't give
immigration?
black people a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C., in New York City, but you could open up migrant shelters? We've
Yes,
been
because
waiting
they have
for
a
hundreds
law.
of years.
They have a law in New York that anybody who asks for shelter can get it. And so these migrants wanted shelter, and they got it. And anybody could have asked for it,
So what
too.
am I supposed to tell the black homeless women at night that ask me for money in New York that I help, that the rich in New York don't care about, that no one else will care about in this country? What are you going to tell those women? Because you haven't given me an answer to that. And I'm going to leave here right
the
now
first time you asked the
because I
question.
don't want to waste more
Yeah,
time.
you wasted time
Yeah,
talking
that's
about
why, yeah.
Destiny's family, and now you're going to take this position.
Because the reason I said that is because you want to hate Donald Trump because
Yes.
you aren't a symbol of anything. Because you want to say, look at him, how bad is he? Look at everyone here. You know how many ICE protests I've been to? You know how many people in the city get drunk every single weekend? They can't educate Hispanic kids.
They're not
Whenever-
running
wait, hold
the
on.
country. They're not the president
I
of the
don't
United
care.
States.
Whenever-
I don't
why do you
care.
not-
It's
you have
on
the same
you
standard
as
for
a
partying.
man.
We're not
You
running for
guys don't wanna
president. We're
take
not
care
the
of your
president
kids.
the United States.
You guys don't want to take care of the kids.
I'm taking
What-
care
You
of all
guys
of my
want to get
kids.
drunk
Do we need to go
every
adopt
weekend
people? What are you
and get
talking
mad
about?
when the taxes go up or when this happens. You guys don't do shit.
You're one of the highest tax states in the country. What are you talking about? People are mad
And
about
what
the
do you
taxes
do
here.
every weekend? Help your own people.
So,
Okay.
all right.
No, don't leave.
Right,
Come
brave.
back.
Brave. So people like that have no solution. They have no leaders they can propose, nothing at all. Just complain and then say you're not fixing everything.
All right.
It's the Jubilee, dude. Holy shit.
Bro, I've been seeing a lot more places than Jubilee. It's not just Jubilee.
It's
Come
the
on.
Jubilee guy.
Bro, bro, I have like 100 million
Okay,
views
it's the
on my
dude
own
that
Instagram,
also
bro.
loses, and like I'm pretty sure I saw it in the video with you, right?
Yeah, I debated Destiny. Actually, I was going to talk about that, Destiny. So you posted me on your Instagram when we were talking about like healthcare and stuff, or like old people, dying people, sick, poor people, you know, the whole mix. I just kind of wanted to continue on that you said it was like, you know, like the worst conservative take or something. So like if somebody doesn't work, they die. Like if they can't afford their own food or their own healthcare, they get cancer when they're 65 years old. If they can't afford the treatment, well, that's kind of their fault because they didn't work hard enough when they were younger. So
This is a party
that's
of
my take.
pro-life, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, actually, here's the thing. I am against killing another human if it's unjustified. And that
But I'm
applies.
for letting them starve.
No. But that applies to poor people and old people as well. I'm not for killing old people or poor people. So I'm not. You're trying to make it look like I'm a hypocrite or something. When in reality, I'm not. You're trying to.
Are you for open borders or mass migration?
No, I'm not. No.
Why?
Because these people from these other countries will ruin America.
When you say ruin America, because they have different
Yes.
values, right?
Different
Why is it that
values,
when Republicans
different
talk about healthcare, you
education.
guys sound like you have the values of like an African warlord?
What's wrong with
Like
African
all
warlords?
old
Is there
people,
something
all
wrong
sick
with
people,
Africans'
all need to
destiny?
die. What?
Is there something wrong with Africans' destiny? Why do you bring up African warlords?
Warlord. The warlord part was
Okay,
that.
that's
because
fair.
we
This is the
don't
best they
typically
got, by
have
the way.
that.
Why,
This is
why
the
don't
best
we
they
have?
got.
We don't
why
have
we
that as much in Europe and the West.
Why
okay?
don't we have white warlords?
I mean, well, we have one right now in office. His name is Donald Trump.
You think so? He's a warlord.
Yeah, the guy who just started the
Interesting.
largest energy racket in all of history, saying we just started a war with Iran. We're not going to do
Venezuela
fuck
and
all.
Iran. Yeah, I actually do disagree with the Iran thing. I agree with the Venezuela thing, but I really want to go back to healthcare.
Yeah,
though.
no, I'm just saying for healthcare, we live in a country where we
Yeah.
just don't abandon people to die. I don't know. We have like some minimum standards of like taking care of people in this country. Social Security is a thing that you pay into your whole life.
Well, yeah, I'm drastically aware of the fact that we already have that in America, and I'm saying that we shouldn't.
Yeah, but I'm saying we should. I'm saying I don't want to live in a country where people are just dying because they can't afford healthcare or food.
Well,
we
no,
have
it's
enough
because they didn't work hard enough for it.
What do you mean
That's
by
their
work
fault.
hard enough?
They didn't work. I mean, it's quite simple. They didn't make enough
there
money
are all
to pay
sorts
their
of
own
people.
healthcare.
Listen, society today values like the hyper autistic, like 140 IQ
Like you
person.
and me and stuff, yeah.
Yes, that can sit
Yeah.
inside of a fucking room all
not
day
you.
on a computer,
Wow.
right? This is the case, but like those jobs don't exist without people that are willing to be janitors, or people that are willing to work in construction, or people that are willing to be cooks, and or to do all these other jobs in society. Like you can't
They
have.
can just work more hours if they get paid less.
Not
hourly
everybody
rate.
can just work,
People
or
should just work more hours.
Or
you know?
if you're one of the people whose job is enabled by the existence of all of these other people, you could just pay a little bit more in taxes, and they could actually have like a retirement and have like a happy time that they can spend with their family.
I mean, if people didn't have to pay taxes, people would be able to spend a lot more money on services, which would increase.
We
jobs.
also wouldn't have roads, bridges, police, the firefighters, hospitals, the social safety nets that are all funded by those taxes. You know that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want those social safety nets. I do want the
You
roads.
don't want roads. Yeah,
I mean,
well,
like,
I
what
do
you
pay
know,
for
I
the
mean,
job.
like
I
you
never
don't want to
mentioned
live.
that.
Why would you want to live in a country that just like subjects people to death if they didn't work hard enough?
Well, it doesn't subject them to death. I'm not for killing people, but if
I didn't
somebody's
say
going
you're
to
for
die,
killing. Yeah,
look,
I'm
look,
saying-
here's the thing. Your friend over here, what? You're Jewish or something? I don't know. What's your name? I don't know. You look Jewish. Did you have
The
curly
Jewish
hair?
guy, I'm 4% Jewish, bro. Lock
Okay,
in,
okay.
bro.
See, I was somewhat right. I was 4% correct, 96% wrong.
What does a Jewish
Okay.
person look like?
I don't know, curly hair and stuff.
Curly
Dark
hair.
usually.
He referred to
Bro, I
himself
don't
as
know.
140 IQ, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you-
I don't know, bro. Bro, I don't
You
play
look like
ethno
somebody
guess.
who rode
Bro, I
the
don't play
short bus to high
ethno-guesser
school.
all day, okay? So basically what I'm going back to, though, is you said, oh, I thought you were pro-life, trying to essentially
Yeah,
say I'm a
that'd be the
hypocrite.
assumption. You think
I
that
am
human
against-
dignity is intrinsic, so
Dude,
I'd assume
no,
that you'd like pass
bro.
that on, that same
Let
value
me
to old
finish it.
people.
You're trying to call me hypocritical
Yes.
because, like, obviously I'm pro-life. You know me, probably. I don't know who you are, but you know who I am. So that kind of says a lot, right? But basically what I'm trying to get at is
Oh, this guy's such a fucking F slur, dude. I really didn't want to disappoint Christian Vlaris by fast forwarding. I won't fast forward. I will subject myself to the psychic damage. But this guy, fuck this guy. Okay? This is everything wrong. Everything wrong with Christianity, everything wrong with conservatism, everything wrong with the right wing is best represented by this fucking piece of shit. He's a fucking Nick Fuentes LARPing fucking wannabe. He's literally imitating Donald Trump's hand gestures. He's actually imitating Nick Fuentes' hand gestures. He's advocating for sociopathic fucking policy. He doesn't care about the poor. He doesn't care about the destitute. He doesn't care about any of that shit. He cares about basically, he cares about reducing the tax burden for himself and for people like him. And by the way, I'm all for reducing the tax burden if we have a healthy society. Let me go ahead and show you Brazil, right? Brazil favelas, okay? Because this is effectively what these motherfuckers want to live in. And I'm really not trying to like knock Brazil super duper duper hard. But effectively, there is super dense urban housing in Brazil that's poor, with bad sanitation, bad water, bad, you know, all that bullshit. And so what happens is the underemployed and unemployed of these territories kind of languish in poverty and then kill each other. And that's not like, I'm not trying to knock these people. They're products of their material circumstance. But why the fuck? Because he wants to drive by that in a Land Rover and go to a private school. So Brazil, private school. So he wants this probably for only for white people. Let's be real. But effectively, he wants to drive past the favelas, drive past the underemployed and unemployed masses. He wants to drop his kids off in a fucking Land Rover at the private school. Then he wants to pick them up and he wants to drive them back to his mansion. But why would we do that? Why would we do that when it's such clearly a terrible way for a society to operate, to have the giga wealthy capable of accessing everything that they've ever wanted and dreamed of, the giga poor languishing in misery and death and deprivation and street level violence, why wouldn't we just use taxation in order to reduce a moderate amount of the wealth that the ultra wealthy are able to accumulate, and then try to design social infrastructure that's good enough that we don't have immiserated, poverty-stricken masses? And by the way, none of this is biblical. None of this is scriptural. None of this is Christian, saying, fuck it. Let the poor people die. Let the old people die. Dude, even the Bible. The Bible is more civilized than this piece of shit. The Bible, I think you guys might remember from my previous biblical lecture. The Bible says, honor thy father and thy mother. And clearly what they were worried about in, what was it, like 3,200 years ago, was people abandoning their old people when they were no longer convenient to take care of. But that's socialism, Connor. I'm going to kill myself. And it's not Crusader Danny. It's not because your statement, I know you're fucking with me. You're either fucking with me or you're not. And if you're not, it still needs to be addressed. Socialism is the decommodification of basic human needs and workers owning the means of production. I'm not talking about the workers owning the means of production. So that's half of the socialist consequence knocked out. And then I'm not talking about decommodifying basic human need for every single person. Okay? I'm talking about decommodifying basic human need for for exclusively the people who need it. The people who are too stupid, too old, infirm, no social safety nets, no capacity to take care of themselves, no one around them who can take care of them. Then we should obviously take a small amount of our wealth and use it to alleviate the suffering of those who can't take care of themselves. The zakat in Islam does this. The tithe in Christianity does this. I hope there's a Jewish version. That'd actually be really funny if there wasn't a Jewish version. Jewish version of the tithe. The Jewish version of tithing, known as ma'aser, 1/10, is a biblical commandment involving setting aside 10% of agricultural product and income for special purposes. Historically, it supported the Levites, workers in the temple, and the poor, and facilitated pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Today, it often takes the form of ma'aser kesofim, tithing money, which is 10% of personal income given to charity. Dude, even fucking, I'm going to be anti-Semitic because it's funny, even the fucking cheap-ass Jews understand taxation, understand social services, okay? So if a fucking, let's just say frugal is the nicest way to put this. If even a frugal people like the Jews can understand tithing, then why can't this sociopath fucking piece of shit understand it?
I'm pro-life.
You're such a big deal. You showed up to this event.
I'm against the unjustified killing of all humans, even on the unborn ones.
Unless
but when
they're
it comes
immigrants,
to people,
unless it's Alex Preddy or Renee Good.
no,
Unless,
if somebody's going to die, if an illegal immigrant is going to die of cancer or something, or an old poor person, they're going to die from their own natural causes. I'm not the one going out to kill them. So
But
you can't say I'm hypocritical.
the distinction
That doesn't
between
apply.
doing and allowing harm, like it really depends on your capacity to help.
Yeah, doing
right?
a lot. Thank you, Destiny.
But
Yeah,
like,
you get
well,
the
but
difference.
hold on. If I'm standing on the beach and there's somebody 10 miles out to see who's drowning, I don't think it would be. I can't swim
Yeah, you
10
can.
miles.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But if I was walking by a pool,
Well, we
and
saw what you looked like on the
and I
beach,
saw-
Destiny. I don't think you could swim
Oh,
10
that's
feet.
great.
trying to
Ooh, Destiny should lift weights. I was saying ooh, and I think my mic didn't pick it up. Number one, it's fucked up how personal they're being, but that's okay. Destiny's a spicy meatball on social media, so I guess if you're going to throw elbows, you're going to catch elbows. Destiny does need to lift weights, and I'd be happy to lift with him, by the way.
viral.
And I
He's
still
trying
look
to go
better than
viral.
Trump. I still look better than Trump. Okay.
know
Somebody
about that one, bro.
walking
True.
You're
by,
like 35.
somebody walking. I'm pretty sure that if Donald Trump went shirtless, we would see 50 more new strange bruises on his body that he would say came from other people
Bro,
shaking
he's
his
like
hands.
80
or whatever.
though.
Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't be in
Bro,
office.
you're like
Good point.
35.
I agree. He shouldn't be in office. That's great.
Stick to the conversation.
Okay. So if there is a person, if I see a 6-month-old just like roll into a pool, and I could very easily just bend over and pick him up and lift him out of the pool, would it be immoral for me to sit there and watch the child die?
In that situation, yes, because it doesn't take away.
No, hold on. I'm not
Destiny Trend arc. God, can we do that?
I know you're really eager to. Okay, I'm just saying that the doing versus allowing harm.
All right, I need some more tea. I'll be right back.
In that situation is going to be very minor. Like, a parent would get mad at you for pushing their child into the pool, but I think a parent would be almost as mad at you if you just watched them walk in and drown and sat there sipping a martini and didn't do anything.
But what's the almost as mad? Like, if a parent saw you push their kid in a pool, they would probably want you given the death penalty or go to prison for life.
I'm just saying,
if the toddler was just left in the pool and you didn't do anything, they're like, what the is wrong with you, right? They're not going to want you to get the death penalty.
I'm not talking about necessarily criminal punishments. I'm not sure actually 100% criminal punishments. But I'm saying that the doing versus allowing harm distinction only matters in so much as how much you have to inconvenience yourself to help the person, right? If we can take care of the sick people in society, if we can take care of like the hungry people in society, we ought to do that. There's no good country that you would want to live in, that you would want to be a part of, that lets people die because they didn't work hard enough until they were 65.
What I find interesting is that the federal government loves to give out free healthcare to people who what's the word? When they
let's generalize millions of individuals that don't have good outcomes. Yeah, let's.
Okay, whatever. A lot of people get free healthcare from the government.
Whatever.
The government doesn't give out free gym memberships. Like, what the hell? My healthcare costs $10 a month.
Honestly, public gyms is a kind of cool idea, but whatever.
Yeah, my health insurance costs $10 a month.
But the reason why we have 70 million people on Medicaid is because corporations aren't paying people enough. These are greedy corporations. Your beef is with them, not the workers. Why do you have such a low view of your fellow Americans, that they're lazy, they don't work hard enough?
Well, I mean, I think it's quite. I don't even think it's an opinion that they don't work hard enough. It's quite evident that they don't work hard enough because they need handouts from the federal government.
No, wait, it's not true that they don't work hard enough. It's that they don't work the jobs that society currently values.
Well, they don't provide enough economic output.
Paid.
Like, if you dig a hole that's like 5 feet deep, like the movie Holes or some, and then you fill it up at the end of the day, you did a lot of hard work, but you did not provide anything.
Like
to
what
society.
Elon did with his tunnels in Vegas for the Hyperloop or whatever.
What was that?
How are you minimizing their contributions? I guarantee you, if you drive over a road with a bunch of potholes, you're going to be relatively upset at the damage it does to your vehicle, at how long it takes you to get it from point A to point B. For you to act as if they don't do anything or they're not doing enough, where they're doing hard manual labor, they're working like 20 million hours at Walmart or some shit. I find it so odd how you minimize the work they do that makes your life better.
I mean, all that matters is somebody's output. It doesn't matter how much hard work
human
that they
beings
did.
are not output. Again, how can it be pro-life? You're just like, are you a number one?
No,
or
but the
number
amount
two?
of money that they get paid for this economic system that we live in depends on their output. Doesn't depend on how hard they work. Which is why I mentioned the analogy. If you dig a hole that's 5 feet, you fill it up at the end of the day. You didn't do shit, but you did a lot of hard work. You didn't output anything. You don't deserve jack shit. So a lot of people do these really hard jobs.
It's not that they're just digging holes and filling them up. These people are doing socially valuable work. It's just not as highly skilled, so it's not as highly compensated. But like, do you think it's a mistake, or do you think that it's a coincidence that every single country basically on the planet decides to take care of its like old and sick people, even if they can't afford to pay for it?
Well, I think those works in a lot of European countries because the United States military covers their ass through NATO and a lot of other treaties. Like, the vast majority of active soldiers in Western Europe are actually American, by the way.
Stop acting like that doesn't benefit
Germany.
us. What? NATO and these treaties are not like some altruistic attempt at making everybody feel safer. Like, we're establishing influence all across the globe.
What I'm getting at is that these countries in Western Europe, because they don't need to fund such a huge military to defend themselves against Russia, they're able to go, oh, wait, the United States is going to protect us. Let's divert a lot of our funding towards healthcare services. And also, like, let's just get out the elephant in the room. A lot of those Western European countries are very white, right? They don't have a lot of minorities that are, like, draining down the welfare system. We know that's very factual.
wow.
Like, come
Wait
on
a second. So I don't know this, but like
It's true.
I don't have an
It's
actual.
true.
I don't know 100% the answer, but my vibe would be that white people probably drain more healthcare in the United States. 'Cause
Yes.
Don't they live on average like 8 years longer, and the
Yes.
majority of your healthcare draining years are at the end of your life when you're receiving like the highest.
Not relative to the United States being 60% white. I mean, it might be like at the 51.
Okay, I know that Christian Blaris is going to hate me for fast forwarding, but this guy is truly one of the biggest pieces of shit in online politics. And it's just everything fucking wrong with the right wing, and I barely can psychically stand it. I'm going to fast forward to like the last 2 minutes. That way we can move into the white nationalist debate and maybe North Korea, James Fishback, abortion. Like, it's not a question of whether or not I'm having a good time. I'm doing okay. But like, pretending to be a Christian not loving your neighbor, not honoring your proverbial father and mother, not being a good Samaritan, not being moral in any sense of the degree, love my enemy. Nah. Jesus needs to love this motherfucker, okay? I don't have enough energy in my soul to love this motherfucker. Jesus needs to love this guy. All right. I'm gonna click play. I'm gonna go finish up my tea.
Them free things as well. So
well, they have healthcare now, and then you're like, we should get rid of that system. What are you doing?
Yes, well, I'm not taking anything away from them. We are
more white people would be punished by these policies you're proposing.
I'm not focused on that. If somebody's not working, I don't care if they're white, black, Hispanic, or Asian. I think people should not be given free handouts.
Yeah, because moral values intrinsic, because I'm very pro-life. If you're not working, then you're no longer a human being. You don't deserve rights. Like, how does that make any sense?
No, they deserve rights.
They deserve to starve.
No, they don't. They don't deserve to starve.
That's what you're saying. What do you mean? They should starve and not be helped by a government with a $30 trillion economic output and multi-trillion-dollar revenue.
They don't deserve free food, I'll tell you that.
Why,
they don't deserve to starve, but they also don't deserve free food.
70%.
They can go get their own food if they like, but if I'm not going to give it to them, nobody else is going to give it to them.
I am only reading this because it's oil. I'm going to disavow this comment before I say it, and I'm going to disavow this comment after I say it. Grassroots for $50 says, my cancer-ridden dog has more testosterone than Destiny's collective bloodline. I disavow. You're being mean. You're being rude. You know you're being mean. You know you're being rude. You are doing that just because you think it's fucking funny. I disavow. Fuck you. All right.
80% of people on SNAP benefits are elderly, disabled, or children.
Okay.
Should we take away their food?
What does disabled constitute as?
People.
What is the definition for disabled?
That's pedantic. It's irrelevant. We mentioned a bunch of groups of people.
It is actually quite relevant.
Because then it changes the definition of kid. No, it doesn't.
How disabled are they? Like, are they a paraplegic or are they like, oh, my thumb hurts or something?
Doesn't matter. They decided they need an average of $160.
Do you know how many people make up disability bullshit to get free disability?
That is actually a damning non-answer. So can you address what he said, please?
So he said 70% of...
70% are children, disabled, permanently disabled, or elderly.
Okay. I'm
Fuck
saying
them.
Define 70%.
No, but those old people should have worked enough to have
a random question because I know we got to move on. Are you Christian?
Yes, I am.
How the
I believe in donating your own goods and services, not forcing somebody else to give away their goods and services to a poor person. I have donated probably more money than any college student here surrounding me of my own personal money, not from my parents or something.
Whenever you give money to the government and then they give it to people, isn't that you providing?
No, but that's me being forced to do it. And you guys are pretending to be so morally righteous by doing this, but you're actually wanting other people to pay for poor people's.
Well, no,
I'm in favor. If somebody wants to voluntarily say, hey, I actually have a surplus of money right now, I'm going to give a few grand to this charity, that's great. I think people should do that. I don't think they should be forced to do that.
Aren't you compelled to do that? Have you been to church before?
I have, yeah.
What do they do twice a mass if you're Catholic?
I'm not Catholic.
Oh, big L. But do they collect donations at your church?
They don't pass anything around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
which is bullshit. You know that motherfucker's lying. You know that dude's lying, which, by the way, is against the Ten Commandments. So let's take a look. I was thinking about, let's take a look at what the Bible, because this guy claims to be Christian. He's a Christian conservative, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What does the Bible say about the poor and homeless? When we see someone experiencing homelessness or struggling with poverty, our first instinct might be to look away, unsure of how it will help. But Scripture calls us to do the opposite. To look with compassion, to act with love, and to care for those in need. The Bible has a lot to say about the poor and the homeless, and it challenges us to not just feel empathy, but to take action. In this post, we'll explore what the Bible says about the poor and homeless, reflect on key verses like feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and share how the Joshua wave is putting faith into action in real sustainable ways. God's heart for the poor and homeless. Throughout the Old and New Testament, God consistently shows his heart for the poor, the marginalized, and the outcast. He calls his people to care for those in need, not out of pity, but as a reflection of his own love and justice. Isaiah. Okay, isn't Isaiah Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? It is not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter, when you see the naked to clothe them, and to not turn away your own flesh and blood. This is perhaps one of the clearest examples of God's call to feed the hungry and shelter the homeless. It's not just a suggestion, it's what God sees as true worship. More Bible verses about helping the poor. Proverbs 19:17, which is, I'm pretty sure, Old Testament again. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. Okay. Matthew 25, New Testament. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger in the land, and you invited me in. Whatever you did for the least amongst these brothers and sisters of mine, you have done for me. Crusader Danny says, are you really using the Bible verses to justify policies like open borders and scam homeless shelters? I hope not. When the fuck did I ever say that, Crusader Danny? Let's go ahead and set up what you just said, because this actually pisses me off. Oh, 7 biblical verses talking about taking care of poor people and homeless people. That means you can scam non-governmental organizations should scam the public coffers in order to pretend to take care of homeless people, and we shouldn't have borders anymore. When the fuck did those sentences ever leave my lips, Crusader Danny? When the fuck did I say that shit? Riddle me that fucking real quick. Justin Garcia says, why are we talking about the Bible at all if this dude even cares? I think he claims to be a Christian conservative. If you claim to be a Christian conservative, you should probably care about what's in the Bible, right? He'll just use it to justify whatever his position is. You can't use this in order to justify whatever you want. The text is quite clear. But the point is that if you want to talk to conservatives who clothe themselves in the robes of religion while claiming the opposite of what Scripture prescribes, then we need to know what Scripture says. That way we can argue with them effectively and say, you are taking the Lord's name in vain. Fuck you, too. Sorry, I'm getting pissed off because now I got fucking fedoras. No, it doesn't really matter what the... Yes, it does, you dipshits. Holy fuckballs. Let's say there's a lawyer. Okay, let's go ahead and pull up a picture of a lawyer. Here's a lawyer. Okay, and then let's go to Black's Law Dictionary, and let's go to Florida state statutes. Do you think what is said in Florida state statutes, I'm in the state of Florida, by the way, do you think what is said in Black's Law Dictionary in Florida state statutes matters to the profession of a lawyer? The obvious answer is yes. And if you're like, okay, but lawyers are famous for being fucking sociopaths who twist the words of the law dictionary and Florida state statutes to say whatever they want, yeah, absolutely. But when you try to hold them to account, you appeal to statutes and you appeal to the definitions. Obviously. So saying, oh, well, people just twist books into their own definitions and all that kind of bullshit. Yeah, that's why you fucking, I'm going to be rude because you guys are pissing me off. That's why you fucking rape them, rhetorically, of course, with the words of their own fucking texts. Very obvious. Don't know why we're pretending otherwise. You know what you know why this pisses me off so bad? The reason why this pisses me off so bad is because you guys want to be fucking lazy. Okay, that's what you want. You want an excuse to say everything is arbitrary, therefore we should not even learn the argumentation of our enemies because realistically, they're just going to try to worm out of the argumentation anyways. You just want an excuse not to research what the arguments of your enemy are. If you know your enemy and yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. So y'all motherfuckers saying like, oh, well, I'm lazy, so I kind of want to know myself, and I don't need to know my enemy. It's fucking laziness, and it does not belong here, okay? If you want to be fucking lazy, if you want to get jerked off that your If you want to get jerked off that everything you believe about the world is totally correct, and if you want to get jerked off that you don't need to know your enemy, if you want to get fucking jerked off and told that you're, you know, special and that you're like perfectly morally lucky and every single presupposition you have about the world is absolutely correct, you're in the wrong chat. Go to a fucking liberal, go to any fucking liberal chat, and they'll fucking jerk you off. Okay? That's not this. This is not the liberals are right about everything jerk off community. Okay? Go on about getting jerked off. I hate you guys.
You donate online.
Wait, well, hold on. Wait, what kind of church is this?
Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. Jack
is this
Hibbs.
like an online church?
Hibbs, right? Do you know Jack Hibbs? He has like 500,000 followers on Instagram. He's a big political speaker.
No, I don't.
You don't?
Is this an online church?
No.
Okay.
It's
for all the Catholic churches I've been to, they generally tithing is like seen as like a thing you're supposed to do, and they pass around the thing.
And that's actually not biblical, right? You should be giving in secret. You shouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna put money in the box in front of everybody to make them.
Well, there's a difference between giving money as part of tithing versus making a big show out of it, right? Like you're still doing it in front of people.
Yeah,
right?
but you should still do it secretly if you're.
But who says that? That's not true. What?
It's in the Bible, yeah.
It's literally not in the Bible.
It's in the Bible that you should donate to the church secretly.
When
Have you even read the Bible?
Wait, hold on. When Jesus is literally doing the thing of the woman who donates quietly versus the guy that makes a big show out of it, how does he know that the woman donated quietly? It's because she still walks up to tithe. It's public. It's not like you have a secret mail thing that you send the donation off to.
Bro, what? No, it says in the Bible that you should give in secret if you're going to be donating.
You can, but
even if it's not to the
tithing
church.
and part of church is not considered a moral thing. I think it's an expectation. Every Catholic church I've ever
No,
been
it is
to.
a moral thing, but you should do it in secret. You shouldn't make it obvious. You're not going to be like, well, I made $500,000 this year. I want to be donating $50,000 to the church. Like,
Well,
you shouldn't.
nobody
make a big
said
show out
that.
of it.
So,
Okay,
cool.
yeah, cool, awesome. Okay, let's talk.
Yes. I agree with her again. Round of applause for her again. That was beautiful. Rather feed the poor than bomb people. Amazing.
Good luck to that guy.
Yeah, thanks for speaking with me. I'm a white nationalist. I want to rebuild the movement under my leadership. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, so thanks for speaking with me. I'm a white nationalist. I want to rebuild the movement under my leadership.
I love you in American History X, bro.
Guys, this is the replacement for Nick Fuentes, apparently. Wow.
Yes, actually.
Okay.
And Destiny, I was wondering when you would join us.
Okay, here's my issue. First of all, I have blue eyes, so I think I would survive longer than I think you if you've got brown eyes.
No, I have hazel eyes.
Oh, you're first on the list then, because hazel eyes are really just brown eyes, but a different shade. Okay?
No, it's half
biologically.
half white, half
We don't do
brown.
halfies in the white nationalist movement, okay?
Okay, thanks.
No, but okay, here, so
Nice.
I'm so curious. Okay, on the white nationalist perspective, where do you think you're going to end up drawing the line?
Personally, the main ones for me are deporting the Hispanics and the anchor babies.
Okay, but when you say like Hispanics, like would Fuentes count?
I would let personally the ones that are like 75% white stay. So I would let Nick stay.
75? Okay.
Yeah.
Do I get to stay?
Well, I mean, you're 100% though, right? You're like.
I don't. My mom has a Cuban background. I don't know what her.
Yeah, but you're not actually like indigenous. You're Spanish.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, give me your.
But like, do
23andMe.
you see? But do you see the issue here? Like,
No.
you keep saying me personally. You don't see the issue with having a white nationalist policy, but it's hard to define what we even consider fully white. or
No,
white enough to
it does.
say?
It doesn't. Those edge cases are not the majority. The majority is the lower IQ, more violent Hispanics that are, causing too much crime,
Okay.
using too much welfare,
You know what?
and destabilizing the
Listen,
system.
I would join you on this, but can we deport the low IQ whites as well?
Yeah, that's
You're-
fine. No, I mean we need the
wearing a
eugenics
beanie
program
and-
too.
Wait. Why not?
70-degree
Just
weather.
deport like all the low IQ people,
That's
whites,
fine.
browns included,
That's fine. I'm fine with eugenics.
and then we can keep the higher IQ Hispanic, black, white people as well. No?
Yeah, but there's not enough of those, and then there's also other issues.
Do we keep the high IQ Jewish people?
It depends on what they say.
But
I imagine they probably say anything to stay in the white nationalist.
Well,
state
I
that's-
mean, like it really depends. Like, I mean, a lot of folks want. I mean, there's like basically three different wings in the far right, right? You have the Nick Fuentes who want to deport them all. Then you have the Jewish right who obviously want to stay, and then you have more people who are in the middle, like me, who can go either way. So I
I
agree
appreciate the flexibleness of your white nationalism.
yeah,
But it really
sounds
depends.
like an interesting movement.
But my question is, you don't have any future in the Democratic Party. You've already pissed off Hassan. You've pissed off like the DSA
Hassan is
folks,
not the Democratic Party.
right? You've had sex with Warren Southern. You played footsies with Nick Fuentes.
He
You've
just
already
sat
done
down.
too many
He
things.
just sat down with a cabinet member from Biden's administration
You've
within
done
the
too
last
many
6
things.
months.
Well, I'm not running for office. Like,
But
what do you?
you're never gonna have like a seat at the table. You've already pissed these people off.
I don't need to have a seat at the table. There are values that I think are important to impart to the world or on my platform. It doesn't matter if I have a seat at the table or not. That's going to stop me from doing that.
What's your number one issue? What's your number one value?
It's deporting low IQ white nationalists.
No, seriously. What is your actual number one issue?
My number one issue? I don't know. I'd have to think for a while.
This is too much of a grifter. Like, you have to have a number one issue.
Why do you have to have a number one issue?
Yeah, because what are you promoting? Like, you're just here attacking other folks, trying to shut them down. But what is your goal?
Well, I mean, the number one issue, the things you generally talk about revolve around current politics. I think right now a really huge issue is the fact that we're making enemies out of the entire world. I think is damaging us domestically. It's hurting our ability to bring down things like affordability, which is a number one issue for people, because we're engaged in a narcissistic tariff and kinetic war against other countries. So I would say, like, repairing our relationship with other countries on the world, especially ones that we were historically always friendly with, like Canada and Mexico, like these would be like number one.
You said I have no idea who the guy on the right is. I don't either. I like him a lot. I think he's actually pretty funny. I like IRI. I like Destiny. I like this new 4% Jewish kid. Somebody saying, how does Destiny not know this guy is a troll? I think Destiny's doing a perfectly fine job of kind of like making fun of this guy while also joking, while also doing whatever. Like, if this guy's a troll, isn't a troll, it doesn't really matter to Destiny's performance. Destiny is still flexibly playing with the ideas. Like, having somebody say, you know, hey, shouldn't we deport all the low IQ, violent brown people? It's Adam Friedland. Fuck you. That's racist. And then, you know, but basically saying like, hey, shouldn't we deport all the low IQ, violent brown and black people? And then he's like, no. And he's like, what's your number one priority? And he's like, deporting low IQ white people. That's fucking funny. That's funny. There isn't a problem with that.
One foreign policy ideals
and so what policies would you implement to fix that? Just lowering tariffs? That's it?
What policies? I mean, I think like there needs to be restrictions. Probably some restrictions need to come in on presidential powers. These would probably require constitutional amendments. But like, I think the pardon at this point should probably go. No offense to Hamilton, but I think the founding fathers were a little naive when it came to some of the powers that were granted to the president. The pardon being one of them. I think the Supreme Court probably needs to be expanded. I think they need to be able to do like a higher volume of cases. I think would help some. I think that Congress probably needs to reassert its role, whether that means passing new legislation to kind of take back some of the tariffing powers that were given to the president via IEP or a few other things. I don't know, like this general trend of things, but it's hard to say specifically like what regulation would I change, because Trump himself is lawless. Like, he operates largely with the assumption that he can break laws and violate the Constitution, and he's not going to be held accountable for it. So like, I don't know what laws I would write to stop a man who believes he's above the law.
And I guess maybe one more point. So if you do implement all these changes that you want, which are pretty vague, but whatever, do you think that would actually, end the culture war, or would we still be here in 4, 10, 20, 40 years? Are we going to be doing this when we're 80 years old?
Yes, we're going to be doing this when we're 80. Pretending that we're going to resolve cultural conflict is stupid as fuck. And I would actually submit to this as well, because I saw this comment, which kind of I wanted to address. AK Batu Sai says, fixing crime is a close second choice to my number one issue. Close second to my number one issue. You need to address the crime issue of going along with the improving education. Okay, so I want to ask you, okay, what do you want to do about the crime issue, quote unquote? Okay? Because crime has already been cut in half.
People contributing.
Okay? Crime statistics by year since 1990. If we look at crime stats, particularly violent crime stats, violence has been cut in half since 1990. So what do you want to do? You want to criminalize crime? What do you want? What do you want to do about crime? We already cut crime in half. So what the fuck do you want to do? Like, trust me, I want to break ethno-religious criminal enclaves, which is probably not even an accurate description. I want to break criminal enclaves. Can I tell you a story real quick? I'll try to be brief. And my dog's barking, so I might have to be even more brief. There was a family that was in my community that literally the parents were in and out of jail every few weeks, right? And their kids, when they turned 10, started burglarizing cars and dealing drugs because their parents encouraged them to do so. And then those kids caught so many records. I was there for 5 years. They got so much shit on their record, by the time they were 15 and by the time they turned adults, they were unemployable. And so they had to continue in a life of crime. That's very clearly the kind of family that needs a state intervention in order to break the cycle of criminality and poverty that's driving them. So I'm okay with that, like saying like, hey, there's a subculture of criminals who are familial, who view crime as a employment, right? So I would 100% go after them. But how are you saying, like, solve the crime issue once again when we've already eliminated it by 50%? My dog's barking. I'll be right back.
The culture war is people like you showing up with like pants all the way up to your like belly button and a beanie over your head. Yeah.
Well,
maybe you're the issue. Do you ever consider that it's probably not normal people, like just you?
I apologize for the outfit. I was running a little bit late. This is not usually how I dress, but
so my issue with culture war stuff is I feel like what conservatives do is conservatives don't give a, like you say that my policies are vague. I mean, we can dive as deep into any of these issues as you want. If you want, we can go into them. But the issue is that conservatives don't concern themselves with governance. They don't have like real policies. They come in with meme ideas. Those meme ideas fail miserably. They find a way to pawn it off onto somebody else, and then Democrats have to come back in, clean up the mess that they left behind, try to do actual real work, and then Republicans will just constantly bait with culture war issues on the side, you know, until people forget, you know, what's even going on.
I don't agree.
Okay, I'll say it for AKA Batusai. It's disproportionately in the black community. The point is that, like, this neighborhood, I know that I just told you, like, oh, we had a homicide and we got the Chapette murders and I almost killed a couple of guys and I wrestled people and I did this and I did that and all that kind of shit, right? I know that I just did all that. I'm telling you, out of a population of 3,000 people, 100 of them were shitbirds and maybe 10 of them were violent criminals. Shout out to Demarius. No, fuck Demarius. Demarius fucking, he waterboarded his girlfriend. Dude, Demarius fucking grabbed his girlfriend by the hair. They were in some kind of domestic. And she was showering. He walked in, grabbed her by the hair, and smashed her head into the tile so much that there were chunks of scalp and hair that were bloody on the tile. Fuck Demarius. I hope that motherfucker's dead. I hope he's in prison or he's dead. So, all right. Anyways, I'm sorry for freaking the fuck out. The main point that I'm trying to make, though, is that this was a tough neighborhood. And yet, it was a very small population that made the neighborhood tough. It only takes 10 people to fuck up a community. It only takes 100 people to fuck up a community. So when AK Batusai says, hey, I want to do something about the crime problem, well, my solution to the crime problem would be lock up those 10 people. You know, aggressively harass via law enforcement the 100 criminals that are making the community unsafe, and then incarcerate for decades the violent pieces of shit who do that stuff.
Like, yeah, the Republican Party is controlled by the donors, the establishment. They're a bunch of cowards. But obviously, we, the base, we want the mass deportations. Even Nick, you know, he's a coward.
You say you want the mass deportations, but you're not getting them.
Yeah, Trump cucked.
No, but he was always going to be
No,
cucked.
he wasn't.
He was always going to fail at that. Listen, I'm telling you, I'll bet my whole life on every future administration.
Yes.
There was no world where he was going to deport 13 million people.
Yeah.
That's ignoring anybody else that came in under asylum.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in deportations.
No. It's not that. It's that he was never going to be able to do that. If you voted for him to do that, you were misled, or you were just ignorant of the circumstances.
Yeah, he could.
It is impossible.
Yes, he could.
He forwarded them $90 billion, and they haven't been able to do it.
He literally blinked on the whole battle for Minneapolis.
He blinked because it was an impossible and untenable battle. I know that this sucks. Listen, in the real world, if you want to be a leader, it can't just be you with a stick smacking everybody, telling them what to do.
Yeah, it is.
It literally isn't. That's not how the real world works.
That's what Obama did with DACA.
That's not how the real world works. You should appreciate that position as a white nationalist. Look at every strong fascist empire that ever existed. What did they say? We're built around war, a strong identity, a military. These losers lost in a single generation. They lost immediately to the most diverse, gayest countries on the planet. They're losing to trans.
All right, I'm good. I'm good on white nationalist guy.
I'm 45. Ever since I could vote, it's always been Democratic. But at this point in time, I don't have a party. I don't necessarily agree with what the Republicans are doing fully, but I can find many examples that I'm completely fine with, if not happy about. And that is going to scare many Democrats away to even possibly say words like that. But then I look at the Democratic Party, and I'm just, the word I say is disillusioned. The direction, what's important, you know, the loudest voices. I always have this conversation with my buddy here, known him since high school. He's a strong Democrat. I just can't associate myself with the way the party is going. And I can't go to the Republican Party either. And I can't go to an independent party because they have an agenda as well. And I can't go to the Green because they have an agenda, and I'm somebody who went to Humboldt State, who was very green, very liberal.
But what's an
Tree
example?
hugger in the sense that I used to embrace that term.
But what's an example of being disillusioned with the party?
See, I was asked that question earlier, and that is a very long conversation. If I can think of something off the top of my head, it probably won't even be the strongest point, because I'm not here ready to, with the ammo ready to go.
Well, but listen, I think the Democratic Party is standing for making life more affordable.
Sorry.
I think the Democratic Party is standing for making life more affordable. I don't think they're doing anything extreme or anything crazy. If you listen to Fox News, you'll think that we're run by AOC or something.
But see, here's the problem.
Fast and Bulbous says, "Get to the point, you old fuck." Are you talking about him or are you talking about me? Now I know there's a 90% chance you're talking about him, but you know, if the shoe fits, wear it, you know?
And I run into this with my buddy all the time. Right now, I can't listen to just CNN. I can't listen to MS Now, which they're no longer MSNBC. I can't listen to Fox News. I will tell you that for the first time in my life, I'm actually starting to watch a little bit of Fox News, which tells you where I've come from. Because I was at a point in the past where Fox News changed that channel. I can't even possibly listen or even give them a chance. But what's interesting is I'll talk to them about the No Kings Now protest that just happened.
Patriarch, both. Fast and Bulbous, both.
And he'll be praising it. He'll say all these wonderful things. And I'll say, but wait a minute, what about the violence that happened? And he'll immediately say, I haven't seen any of that. And I will say, what channel are you looking at? Now, I know, before you respond, Fox News is going to focus on the violence. I get it.
Of course.
I've been there, done that. I used to be a big hater of them. And the only reason I tune them in now is because I feel like I'm getting a little bit more of the actual story. Biased, but then CNN is biased. It's all about ratings. So it's whatever that's gonna get that higher viewership, as opposed to actually giving me information. And before you chime in, sorry, you asked me to go to the mic. Before you chime in, it's like the days of Walter Cronkite, and that's before my time. But the idea of somebody like him, and probably a lot of people behind me have no idea who he is, and again, he's before my time, but he actually presented you the news. And I know there was a Supreme Court case, can't cite it to you for right now, that indicated that the news stations actually don't have to tell us the news, which is ridiculous. But the point is now it doesn't matter if it's CNN, if it doesn't matter if it's MS Now, it doesn't matter if it's Fox News. It's about how can I get ratings, how can I feed the red blood, or how can I feed the blue blood? So
45-year-old discovers bias in news. Amazing.
my problem, and I don't even know if this is a question, but I'm glad to give you some filling time, is how can somebody like me, who's completely disillusioned from the party that I've always been with, I don't even know where to go at this point. And I'll just throw this last part in. It's okay to be content or acceptable of something that Trump does. He is not the devil. And when somebody tells me he's the devil, you lose me, because you're not actually really thinking critically. You're on the surface. So, and then when somebody tells me Kamala Harris is the devil, same thing. You're on the surface. So what do you have advice? Here's my question. Your advice, sir. Sorry for taking up all your time.
You're good, bro.
what is your advice for somebody like me that is so disillusioned with all of it? And you know, when I hear the priorities of the left or the right, it's, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, if that makes sense.
I hear you, man.
Wait, can I answer a little bit? I got so triggered I had to come up here, okay?
All right.
Not really, though. But
I'm glad to bring it.
Yeah. So I just want to explain a quick thing, and then I just have a question, okay?
Sure.
So my naive understanding of propaganda 10 years ago was the idea is, internationally, especially concerning Russia, the idea is you make the other side look bad and you make yourself look good. You make the other side look not credible and you make yourself look credible. And I thought that this is kind of how the world worked when it came to propagandizing people. And I had an Eastern European friend, and they explained to me, because sometimes I remember there was one thing that happened where there was like a reporter standing somewhere and a grenade went off, and it was like very clearly like not real. Like it was obviously staged. And in the West, you know, in America, we're kind of like laughing at it, and it's like, I can't believe these like stupid Russians can believe this dumb stuff. But what the explanation that I got was that, especially in that world, like foreign propaganda is not meant to make your side look credible and the other side look uncredible. It's supposed to make everybody look equally silly. Because the idea being that if you know they lie, and we're honest that we lie, we're honest liars, you know that we're lying, at the very least you're probably going to trust your liars because you know that the other side is probably lying for their benefit, and ideally your side is lying for your benefit. And that was a really interesting concept, because then because it reframes how sometimes I see how foreign people view their own government's propaganda. Because I'm thinking before, wow, you guys are dumb. But what they're thinking is, well, no, we know our government lies, but we're smart enough to know that about your government, but you're an idiot and you don't understand that about your government. That would be like the perspective. So with that explanation in mind, you were asking about CNN, and you were saying, well, you know, everybody's got a spin, everybody kind of like lies, everybody kind of does stuff. I submit to you, my argument is that that mentality is what the Conservative Party has tried to trap Americans in for the past 3 decades. Like, left-leaning media doesn't get things perfect all the time, but if you were to compare the scale of lies, it's not even, we're like orders of magnitude away. So the question that I would have for you, I would look at one of the lies that I would say on the right-leaning side, and there are a multitude of them, but one of the larger ones I would say was, in 2020, Donald Trump was invested in getting everybody to believe that if the votes turned out to favor Biden, that they would be fake. And he started a year in advance on that lie. And all of the people at Fox News, all of them knew it. They were communicating back and forth with them. They were helping to optimize and spread those lies on TV, and they did it because they knew they were losing audience to Newsmax and OAN. This isn't a conspiracy. Well, in the strictest sense, it is a conspiracy, but it's not like a wacky conspiracy theory. We know all of this because of all the discovery that came out when Dominion sued Fox News. So I guess my question is, that was a major news network with some of the largest anchors on the planet, on the largest cable news network in the United States, that was working directly with the president in order to sell a lie to the American people to win an election that they all knew was false. What can we think of? Is there anything, like on the CNN, Washington Post, New York Times side, the MS Now side, that's even remotely comparable to, I guess, to that level of lie?
Absolutely. I mean, it's. I'll go with, and you said it first this morning. I think you called him. I forgot what you said about Biden, but it was right on. It actually got me listening.
He's geriatric. He wasn't able to be a cheerleader
That's what
for
I'm talking
the
about.
team.
So
Yeah.
the geriatric candidate. There are people within CNN. There are people within his circle. There are people who went on CNN who acted like nothing was wrong. That everybody, that what you're seeing is not true. Those are all lies. So when you're saying, before you chime in, but when you're saying, and I completely agree with you, there are people on Fox News who are literally knowingly telling a lie to progress an agenda. But when you sit there and say that they're the ones who are only doing it, or I think maybe you said started it, but even if they started it, somebody else is finishing it. So
not started it. So like in terms of the geriatric thing, right? So the question is not, is Biden slow, is Biden old? The question is, like, is he senile or incapable of doing the job? And I know
think
this
the
is like,
answer is clear on that.
I understand that that's the saying that everybody says, and I know I'm literally a man on an island out here. I don't even know if Guy will side me with here. There was no evidence that Biden was truly incapable of performing or doing the job.
If
Now,
you're
Dude, stop the cat. Stop the cat, man. Stop the cat. Stop the cap. I don't know if this is bias. I don't know what the fuck this is. Maybe it's tribalism, maybe it's something. But dude, I am so tired of people pissing on my leg and telling me it's raining, dude. I was making jokes that Biden was the lesser of two evils in 2020. Oh, this hurts. And I was like, this motherfucker is so old that they are going to need to duct tape his corpse to a dolly, and they're going to have to roll it out for speeches, and they're going to have to put peanut butter in the back of his fucking mouth like Ed the... Do you guys know this? That they used to put... There was like a show with a talking horse. Mr. Ed. There was an old movie, TV show, whatever, called Mr. Ed, and apparently it was a lie that they put peanut butter in the back of his fucking mouth. But at the same time, like, dude, I was joking about this shit in 2020. So you can't tell me in 2024, oh yeah, he's good to go. What you're really electing Donald Trump for in 2015 is you're not electing Donald Trump because he's an arsler. That's what my mom said. She said it very politely. She might have used the word mongoloid. She might not have used the word arsler. My mom doesn't use the arsler, right? And so what you're really electing is a Republican Department of State, Department of Treasury, Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Department of the Interior, Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, Department of Transportation, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Energy, Department of Education, Department of Veterans Affairs, and Department of Homeland Security. That's what you're voting for. And that was not enough for me to vote. But when you guys say, oh, well, Joe Biden was the most effective first-term president in recent American history, what you're really saying to me is, okay, he elected a competent cabinet, and you elected a cabinet that was willing to whip the legislature into a position that passed decent legislation from a moderate perspective. That's what you're really saying to me, okay? So the president could be a horse with peanut butter in its mouth. It could be a horse with peanut butter in its mouth and a pen that is capable of writing, auto pen with its hoof. And so saying that, hey, we elected a horse with peanut butter in the back of its mouth that is capable of signing legislation and executive orders with its hoof, I'm not that impressed. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess that's better than the absolute dipshit that was the other option. But when the horse becomes octogenarian and the peanut butter isn't working anymore and it can't sign shit with its auto pen hoof anymore, then don't tell me that, like, there was no obvious situation that this was a horse with peanut butter in the back of its mouth with a hoof. I saw this motherfucker. Okay? He looked like a fucking horse with peanut butter in the back of his mouth that was signing shit with his hoof. So you guys are like, but Trump is worse. But Trump is worse. But Trump is worse. Correct. So hold on. I don't even need to draw it. On one hand, you got Donald Trump, the biggest piece of shit in American politics in 150 years. Okay? And then you have a horse with peanut butter in its mouth and the capacity to approve legislation. Okay? So between the horse with peanut butter in its mouth and Donald Trump, I'm going to pick the horse with peanut butter in its mouth. But don't try to tell me it's not a horse with peanut butter in its mouth. Okay, I can't read the chat. I can't read the chat or I'll freak out. I can't read the chat. Okay.
Evidence. I was not in the hospital. I was not with the psychiatric doctor
sure,
to look at
I'm aware of that. I'm just saying that Biden...
We all have evidence based on what we can see.
We did see a really bad debate performance. But what I'm saying is that
more than that.
Even if you... Well, was there more than that, though? Because no other world leader had a complaint about this. Nobody. It didn't seem like there were dysfunctional parts of government.
Here's the problem with the president. And some people back in the day would call this elitist because, believe it or not, I think Obama was an amazing president. So people called him an elitist. And I used to tell people, What is wrong with the president being an elitist? The president of the United States should be the best friggin' person we possibly have. So what does that equal? He is somebody who's the smartest, or at least pretty damn close. Somebody who speaks multiple languages.
Just to be clear, I'm not going to argue that Biden was perfect, and definitely Biden was. He was slow enough.
The president of the
United
States.
I agree with you.
I'm not saying that Trump is.
I agree with you, and I agree. I even go as far.
I don't get the choice.
I understand.
Of more people.
I even would go as far as to agree that Biden, the appearance of Biden being senile or slow, was enough to maybe have him not as the president. Right? I can even go as far as to agree with you for that. But look at the difference between after he had that debate performance. So much of the Democratic Party came together to kind of say, like, in a really historic manner, even though you got more votes than any president in U.S. history, even though you beat the same guy that's about to run again, you have to step back because it's too much. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is on Fox News bragging that he passed 3 cognitive tests in a month. Meanwhile, he's got, like, his hand is, like, falling apart. We've got weird they lied and they said it was from shaking hands. We've got rashes all on his neck that we don't know what it's from. He's got IVs that are constantly going into him. He's getting MRIs. There's just so much stuff. Again, I'm not trying to sell you that one side is.
We can agree that Trump is not the best
I'm not trying
president.
to sell you. I'm not trying to tell you that one side is. I'm not trying to tell you that one side is perfect and the other side is, like, fundamentally broken. I'm just saying that, like, we've lost the ability to have an appreciation for how unimaginably fucked one side is and how, like, the other side is definitely not perfect.
But think of this attack, and this goes towards Kamala Harris, and this might be easy. I don't know, but essentially, you have a primary, you go through a process, you have voters voting in each individual state. Whether it's Ohio, they have a caucus, I think it's called. They do this crazy thing from archaic times, which I still don't understand how they can still do that. But the point is that you go through a whole process, and then Biden bows out, and they made a decision at that point in time. Are we going to have a Democratic convention where it's going to get crazy? We're going to get people actually voting and people really engaged in the process, or are we just going to scoot the vice president candidate to that position that nobody voted for? And you'll say, I know your rebuttal will likely be, well, she's on the VP candidate, so they're technically sort of voting for her. No, they're not. They're voting for her as maybe being a secondary person with the hope that never she'll have to be used. Because when was the last time the vice president was used? An assassination. Probably Kennedy was the last time.
Nobody threw their hat in the ring to run against her. Everybody was happy, and everybody was fine with it.
Because of the party line.
No. I'm talking average voter. Do you have respect for Bernie and AOC? I have a feeling you appreciate Bernie.
I appreciate Bernie.
Okay.
I used to appreciate AOC, not where she's gone.
But my point, Bernie was one of the first people after that debate to support Biden, full stop. Say, he's our candidate, he's our guy, we're all behind him.
He's a little biased, though, because then he had a heart attack and everybody wanted him out, so he's probably just kind of, I shouldn't have been kicked out. He's basically being consistent.
I think one thing to keep in mind, regardless of what happened related to Kamala and Biden, like, there are times when there are difficult decisions, and I think if we're truly being honest, like, if they would have had a primary, I probably would have been okay with it. If they would have appointed basically Kamala to run, I was okay with that. I think that no matter what, I think it was going to be a difficult choice because we're, like, in unprecedented times. You have a president who people now have deemed unfit for office, and you've got...
Okay, I'm going to read Ranger Nation real quick, and I'm going to try not to get upset. Ranger Nation says Biden wasn't accomplished because of his cabinet. He was accomplished because he passed great legislation across party lines with no shutdown. I don't know how that changes my calculus at all. Alishness says, it's not that people are lying. It's that the lack of consistency from the same people seeing Trump do the same crap and still saying Biden was worse. Yes, I think those people are lying slurs. Okay? I've been over this half a dozen times in this community, but I'm not going to... I haven't done it recently, so I'll do it now. When you have an economic downturn and you print a shitload of money, it's a perfect storm for inflation. And the inflation is not immediate. It takes time. It's on a lag. And the reason why the inflation is on a lag is because you basically have to print the money. It has to go out to the people. The people have to use it to consume the current goods that are available in the market. And then there's going to be a supply shock where the consumption of goods and services, there are insufficient goods and services. And so as a result, the market raises its prices. And so Biden Like Trump doing a stimulus as he's leaving office and the economy is collapsing, and then blaming Biden for 9% inflation has to be one of the biggest fucking recent political lies in American history. Like every Fox News pundit, most Fox News pundits, most conservatives are, because a lot of them are like giga capitalists, are passingly familiar with the basics of economics. And for them to say that 9% inflation a year and a half to 2 years within Biden's presidency had nothing to do with COVID, had nothing to do with logistics, had nothing to do with stimulus approved by Trump is horseshit, and it's a fucking lie. And truth be told, that is 90% of the shit that you're able to throw at Joe Biden is inflation under his watch. And I think it's also a straight up fucking lie for the recent Republican Party to see the 9% at year and a half to 2 years under the Biden administration, for it to drop down to 3% within his last year in office, and then for Trump to claim that the 3% is because he's back in office, and then if it ticks up a bunch from tariffs and all the stupid shit that Trump is doing, for them to then blame Biden is horseshit. And they're fucking liars. Okay? I hope you guys can hear me that I am pissed, and I do think you're coping, and I do think you're sweeping about Biden's cognitive decline in his capacity to be president of the United States. However, I do want you to hear me that I'm not buying the Fox News, Bidenomics lies and horseshit. Okay? Ranger Nation says, because he's not really a horse, when Biden, as far as we saw, did his job well, he was just old and didn't have enough energy to do things like debate. I can't address it. Okay? If I address it, I will get angry. I will get angry, and I will start yelling at you, and I want to be nice today. I'm trying to be nice. Like, if you want to freak out, if you want me to freak out, just keep telling me that, like, Biden was great, no problems, nothing wrong, it was all optics, and then we'll just go watch the debate together. We'll just go watch the fucking debate again, you know? That's what we'll do. But yes, let's agree to disagree. Correct. Let's agree to disagree, because if we wrap around ourselves around this talking point, I will freak the fuck out.
Like 120 days to figure out, like, what are we going to do? Like, I'm willing to say there are some decisions that are difficult, and I could even maybe concede that sometimes on the conservative side. But, like, compare that to, like, we started a war with Iran with no, I don't even know if we had mission objectives. We had the head of the intelligence community, Tulsi Gabbard, said that the decision to go was made solo by DC, that they weren't the ones that told them that there was an imminent attack from Iran. We've got her saying that Israel and
I can't do this. I can't. You're actually a horse. I'm going to pretend that you're a horse and that you're a real horse trying to talk to me about economics.
the United States apparently have different objectives in this mission. We have Pam Bondi is gone now. We had the...
Is she gone?
Yes, I believe there were news reports like 2 hours ago. We have Kristi Noem, who's gone because ICE is going to states to execute people. I'm just saying that, like, regardless of like the criticisms between Kamala and Biden and whether they could have approached it differently, it was legitimately, that was a tough call. There was a really tough, since Biden won the primary in 2020, this is a very, very, very difficult decision. On the Republican side, these are unforced errors after unforced errors of like abysmal, horrible, like just completely impeachable behavior, like on a moral level.
See, you lost me right there. So impeachable behavior. The President of the United States has a right to do a lot of this. And if you're talking about impeachable behavior with regard, I mean, you said a lot. So
do you think he should be able to pursue political? He's firing Pam Bondi because she wasn't able to.
That's awful. That's disgusting.
Okay,
but not necessarily impeachable.
Why not? That's what impeachment is for. Is to remove a president who's abusing his.
Something held a bit stronger. I mean,
for
we're talking about
his
high
Department
crimes
of Justice?
and misdemeanors is the statement. I don't know of a high crime or misdemeanor to talk excuse me for my language, to talk smack about your political opponent.
Wait, he's not talking.
Correct. Dude, unfortunately, Peaky Blinders dude is fucking cooking right here. Directing the DOJ to prosecute your enemies, as far as I know, is a norm and not a law.
Fact, though, he told his attorney general to go fabricate indictments against those people to arrest them.
But it's not a high crime and misdemeanor. So when you see, this is where you lose somebody like me. And I've seen you before. I've seen you on TikTok. I don't mean any disrespect at all. I'm letting you know where you lose somebody like me who is disillusioned with the party is when you start saying those big words like impeachment. I'm sitting there saying, where's the high crime or misdemeanor?
The high crime is.
You're retarded. Grimesley, you are also... we're going to start referring to people who can't track conversations as horses. We are going to call them horses, okay? Because clearly, like, they didn't do anything wrong. Horses are a noble animal, okay? I love horses. Let's Google a horse. Maybe this will... Horse eating hay. An apple. A horse eating an apple. Maybe this will help some of you. Okay, maybe this will remind you of a good time earlier today for you. Okay, so this is a horse eating an apple. I hope this soothes your little horse brain. Okay. Grimesley says, lol, what the fuck, seriously? You think Trump is more mentally sound than Biden? You're delusional. You're a horse. Okay? You're a horse. Nowhere in the past 2 hours was that sentence said. You imagine that sentence, Grimesley, because you're a horse. You have the capacity to, like, look out into the world and see, like, spooky things that are chasing you and then go, oh, shit, I gotta run. And then you fucking run in a certain direction. That's how your brain works, okay? Horse brain is great for running away from things. It's not great for understanding economics or politics. So I'm sorry that you're a horse and you don't understand sentences, because a sentence stating Biden had obvious cognitive decline, and people pretending that he didn't have cognitive decline are fucking coping, and it's pissing me off that you're coping in my chat, okay? That's one sentence. And it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Okay? Now you can say, because this is a different sentence, I want you to take that idea. Joe Biden was experiencing cognitive decline, and it was not good. Okay? Cognitive decline is bad. Okay? That's one concept. Then here's another concept. We're in a binary system, and so we have to choose between a guy who has cognitive decline and a malicious, malevolent dipshit who's also experiencing cognitive decline, who is borderline evil because he does evil shit. Therefore, in an evaluative choice between the person experiencing cognitive decline and the evil person experiencing cognitive decline, we should choose the person who's not evil, who's experiencing cognitive decline. But then you come back and nobody has said this. Okay? No one has said this. Oh, you prefer the evil guy who has cognitive decline? No one said that. No one, you made that up because it's an easier argument to deal with than, oh yeah, my guy was experiencing cognitive decline and that was bad. You're a horse. I shouldn't debate politics with a horse.
We cannot survive as a nation if the president can order.
Argument.
It's
than
not.
a high
No, the
crime and
impeachment
misdemeanor.
is how we remove a president from power who is not performing the job in the way that we would expect him to perform it.
That's what voting is for.
No, we can't outvote a president that's currently in office. Impeachment is the tool to remove him.
I get it. So he won.
That
So,
doesn't
I
mean he
the
gets to
idea
abuse the
is-
office, though.
I get it. You don't like what he's doing.
No,
I
no,
don't
it's not
like-
about.
God forbid a white boy have some motion. I see you. Yeah, I can't engage.
Don't like. It's the country cannot survive.
Of what he's doing.
The country cannot survive the president doing political prosecutions of his enemies, doing criminal prosecutions.
The country has constantly survived presidents doing this.
Name one time in our lifetimes where this has happened.
Let's go back to Nixon. I mean, that guy tried to rig an election.
And he resigned, and the entire country recognized that as wrong. He was being criminally investigated.
All is good.
What?
And then his VP pardoned him. All is good.
He was pardoned with the understanding that he was going to be criminally charged with his behavior. The whole country knew it was bad. Most of the country doesn't view what Trump has done with the Department of Justice as being a bad thing.
And it's
but
an
he
example
resigned.
Of where the country has come.
He was impeached.
It's an example of where the country has come, because at that point in time, if you did something stupid, if you had a scandal, you resigned in disgrace, but you still resigned. Whereas now, nobody's doing that anymore, except for maybe Al Franken. I mean, he was the last person I remember doing that.
He shouldn't have done it. Here,
he should not have done
it,
especially in the culture we're in.
You said, what's my advice? I'll tell you, the cavalry is coming. And I was making the point earlier that we did not have a cheerleader for our party. We had a geriatric candidate, then we had this mess with Kamala Harris. But the times are changing, and people don't know what the Democrats can do when they have an energetic leader who is going after Trump. And we're about to take over the House of Representatives. And sure. I would ask you to just wait and see what the Democrats do, because they're going to show you exactly what's going on here, and they're going to prove to you that this guy is bad news. And I understand your point. You said, I'd rather listen to Fox because at least they're honest with their lies.
I added to the equation.
Well, I understand your point, and I respect it. I get it. But I'm just telling you that the idea that Biden wasn't capable, as Destiny said, those are Fox News lies. There's no evidence to support that Biden wasn't able to do his job. In fact, our country did very well under Biden in his last year. We had 2.8% GDP. Compare that to 2.2% now. We created 181,000 jobs last year. 1.5 million under Biden in his last year. And you say he wasn't competent and able to do his job?
I say that he put the right people in the right positions, not necessarily
But that's the biggest part of the president.
But the problem is when the president is non-existent, I'm glad he put the right people in the right positions, but the president needs to be, as I said, call me an elitist as you want. I need the best potential American. And I'm not, again, saying that's Trump, but I'm saying that's not Biden. I'm saying that's not Kamala Harris. It's not AOC. It's somebody who might bring us all together, who have differences. And everybody that I see, whether it's the Republican or the Democratic side, they don't have it.
Oh, come on.
What's angering me the most is that I've been such a devout Democrat for so long. And the priorities of the Democratic Party pushes me more to the right, even though I disagree with so much they have to say. And I'm just telling you, as somebody who has been there for so long, remember this, because the priorities that have been pushed, it's not the right way. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't embrace and accept people. Yeah. That is a longer conversation.
What are the priorities that you feel like the Democratic Party is pushing on that are going the wrong way?
Hassan Piker.
I mean, I'll start, I guess not the easy, but the first thing that comes to mind is immigration.
Okay.
So we have a country of immigrants. That is wonderful. We have give us your tired, give us your poor, in a time period where we had this massive frontier that we needed to fill it. We don't have that country anymore. So anytime that anyone goes back to those old slogans, that was beautiful at the time. Times change, and we have to be reflective on what we have in front of us. And so when you say let's have open borders, which I know is an exaggeration, but when you say let's let all these people in, it's a beautiful thing. But if you actually look at the numbers, we will never be able to save the world. There is way too many people that need to be saved for us to save the world. So what we should actually be doing is trying to save our country, and in the process, maybe trying to save some people during that time. But the way the Democrats seem to be taking that direction is we need to just save the world and not think about it, not actually think about statistics and the way things actually work. That's my problem with the immigration policy.
I'll tell you, that was one of my big frustration. One of my big frustrations with the Defending Liberalism in the 21st Century conference is 80% of it was overseas. I shit you not. Literally everybody under the age of 40 left the conference and had conversations in the lobby because realistically most people were over the age of 40. But everybody who was over the age of 40 sat in the fucking sat in the conference room and effectively listened to like Indians, Brazilians, and Ukrainians talk about how liberalism is under threat in their respective countries. And no offense, but like, that's great. You know, I'm happy that there's liberals worldwide who are defending the concept of liberalism and the concept of free societies and all that bullshit. Very happy. And I'm proud that they're there, and I'm happy that they're there, and I'm happy that they're getting airtime. But if we're so fucking worried about free and open societies in the United States remaining free and open, maybe we should talk about I don't know, freedom being under threat in the United States of America.
And for the first time, and here's something that I'm going to praise Trump for, and I don't necessarily like how he got there, but I like the result. I like that we have a slow trickle coming over our border right now. I like that fact, because honestly, I think we should start bringing, I'm sorry, I keep cutting you because you want to join in, but I think we should be focusing a lot of our money and time, what's going on here, as opposed to sending it all the way out there.
What was the extra ask from Congress? Was it $200 billion for the first few weeks of the Iran war?
But you're going to the Iran
what did they
war.
cut to make
I'm
the one big
talking about
beautiful bill? Was it
right now.
Medicaid that they
I'm
tried to
talking
cut there?
about
Right.
$1 trillion.
What was the how
for
was it
Medicaid.
$90 billion for ICE?
Yeah.
Right, it was $90 billion, right?
Lot of money.
Okay,
How
so
much
what
money
is
did Doge
ICE?
find?
ICE enforces our borders.
No, they don't. First of all, ICE is
don't?
for interior enforcement. They don't enforce the
So
borders.
tell
Number
me,
one.
Tell
Number
me
two.
what they actually do, because I'm just
Well, apparently they run around the states and they kill U.S. citizens, I guess, and then they get kicked out of the states and they get shielded by the federal government.
Who put themselves into the
Yeah, by the way, killed two people killed two people that you guys almost completely forgot about within a matter of weeks. Well, literally, like fucking Renee Good and Alex Preddy get fucking killed, and the online sphere starts talking about like, oh, we need to run on a campaign of abolish ICE. How's that going, guys? How is the abolish ICE campaigns going? They going good? You feel like you got a lot of momentum? Did you start up your local abolish ICE chapters, and did you get hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars for the midterm?
line of fire. I'm not saying that they should
Alex
have been
Preddy
killed,
in any
but
other
I'm saying
circumstance
if
would
they
be
stayed at
worshipped
home
as a
and let
conservative
ICE
hero.
actually do their
Would
job,
be worshipped as a
they'd be
conservative
alive,
hero who
going
stood.
to work and caring for their children right now.
So, okay, I'm getting Fox News talking points on rapid fire right now.
No, I don't.
Well, no.
I
So
didn't
here's the
even
frustrating
wanna
part.
come to
This
the
is
mic.
this is the frustrating part. Okay. Okay.
It's
you wanna-
just
No. The frustrating part. The frustrating thing is that you're wrong
you know,
on so many unimaginably fundamental levels. Even if
I
you
was
cared
talking
about
about
immigration,
immigration,
I
you
know.
went to
No.
Iran.
How can you be wrong about saying I like net zero immigration in the United States? Is it not true? Was that not the major thrust of his point? The thrust of his point. He was like, I don't like how he got there. I don't like Alex Preddy and Renee Good getting murdered. I don't like whatever, but I do like border security, and I do like that we have net zero immigration. How can that be incorrect? Now, you could state a variety of other things that you think are like incorrect, as I'm assuming Destiny is about to do. But dude, this is another like difference between conservatives. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and ask my chat, because my chat is just like libbing the fuck out right now. Okay? It wasn't his point? Yeah, it was. You guys are pissing on my leg today. And you're having a good time. You guys got a pissing on my leg fucking kink, and you're having a great time engaging in it today. Okay? I think that the only people who should be coming into the United States are people who go to a port of entry, report for port of entry, are background checked by the Department of Homeland Security and what Department of whoever, right? Dude, you guys are libbing. You guys are fucking libbing right now. Well, okay, Ranger Nation says, because net zero immigration is arslerd. Okay, so that was going to be my question. So, how much immigration, like, do you guys want? Do you want 1%? Do you want 3%? How much percent of our population do you want to increase every single year? So bear in mind, if it's 1% per year, then we are going to increase our population by 100% in 100 years. And chances are it's going to grow even faster because the 1% is exponential. Once you add 1%, that's then part of the percent. So do you guys want 1%, 2%, 3%? Because what was it, like 5 million allegedly in Biden's term? Like 5 million immigrants came over? You could say they're libid. All right, that was cute. All right, Patriarch, you won me back. You won me back. As much as necessary to make up for the open jobs Americans don't want to do. Okay, that's not a answer. I would love to be able to be like Valor Media Network. We go to talk to agencies that need those immigrants and ask them how many they need. Valor Media Network. Well, I mean, I agree. It should be based off of American need. American need. Rob says you're better than picking maximalist positions and pretending that's the belief of your opposition. Yeah. But the argument is that the past 5 years under the Biden administration, or 4 years, was maximalist because we took in like 3 to 5 million people within a few years, and effectively they all got a court date. So, integration percent. I mean, blight warden, I like that. Integration is what matters. But I'm assuming inferentially, if you're saying integration is what matters, if we started taking hundreds of thousands or millions of people and we found that there were integration problems, let's say that we were having high criminality, high rapes, high murders, jihadist terrorism, et cetera, then we would actually reduce the amount of immigration that we're taking on because we would need to slow down in order to make sure that integration is happening at a high success rate. All right, I feel like y'all are just fucking living the fuck out. So you guys have fun. Live the fuck out. All right. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a good time living the fuck out. All right.
I'm talking about immigration right now. I'm talking about immigration right now. America has the best immigrants in the world. Not even due to any whatever. It's just because, one, there's oceans between us from other continents, and our immigration process is relatively strict. Even under Biden, getting into the United States has always been decently challenging. This idea that we have immigration to save the world, how do you feel about the fact that Trump lied about 30 million illegals coming in here under Biden?
Again,
how do you feel about the fact that Trump lied about 30 million?
Trump to
how
me,
do you
I will
I'm just
agree
asking,
with you.
No,
He's
I'm just
liar.
asking you. I'm asking you a question. How do you feel about the fact that Trump lied about 30 million illegals coming in?
I mean, I'll say what I say to. I left it. There you are. I'll say what I say to him all the time. If you're challenging me with a question about Trump lying, I will say par for the course. Trump.
I'm just
lies
asking
constantly.
you a simple question. How do you feel about that?
Awful.
Okay, that's good. Number one.
Easy.
Number two, going by their estimates, they say they've removed 2 million people this year. That's if.
Are you moving off of the ICE claim? That's straight batty. What ICE claim is batty? I'll make. I don't even think I made any ICE claims. I'll make an ICE claim now. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement obviously deports the fuck out of people in concert with Customs and Border Patrol. They are both a deterrent and a law enforcement operation domestically. They've done this job, since 9/11? Since 9/11, 2001, when all the departments were reorganized. And effectively what ended up happening was, as a result of the hardcore mass deportation operations of the past year, we've reached like net zero immigration for a few months. Which means that more people are either leaving. How many months have we had net zero immigration? 9th straight month of zero releases at the border. Now these people are obviously like getting detained and shit. That Alex Preddy and Renee Good were forgotten on the anti-ICE rhetoric has stopped. Yeah, it's fucking stopped. You think that the midterms... Okay, let me... You must be new. You must be new. And you're a horse. So let me try not to yell real quick. Stepped on Unity says that Alex Preddy and Renee Good were forgotten and the anti-ICE rhetoric has stopped. Sorry, are you guys running on abolish ICE? Is that polling well right now with the Democratic Party? Do you think that's going to be a cornerstone of the... Do you think Gavin Newsom is going to be running on abolish ICE? Because I watched IRI. I watched Josiah. I watched Soy Pill. I watched Destiny. What is the current shutdown over? What is the current shutdown about? As of early 2026, a partial U.S. governmental shutdown is centered on disputes regarding Department of Homeland Security funding and immigrant enforcement reforms. While other agencies were funded through September, disagreements over CBP, ICE reforms, and border security funding led to shutdown for DHS, impacting over 260,000 workers. Yeah, do you think anybody gives a fuck about this? The only thing that I've seen people complain about is this partially affected TSA, and people were fucking furious about this fucking... Dude... Do you know how many more people give a fuck about flying than they give a fuck about Renee Good and Alex Preddy? Do you know how many people you probably alienated in the past month and a half by fucking pissing people off at the airport? What the fuck? What was this like a big... Do we have like big rallies? That we love being late for international flights as a part of the government shutdown? Once again, I think this is lip cope. Fucking lip cope. The U.S. countries continues bombing Iran, causing a huge humanitarian crisis. Are they morally obliged to receive Iranian refugees provided they pass a background check ensuring they're not enemies? No. I think we should be giving the Iranians Starlink terminals and AK-47s. Why are they coming here as refugees? Give them a Starlink terminal and a fucking AK and fucking 200 rounds of ammo and turn them around. Okay. Anyways.
If you believe their estimates,
I'm pushing for him to reach Obama's numbers.
That's fine. Do you
I'm
believe
hoping
that
he gets?
I'm not
I'm
asking about
hoping
Obama.
he can be as good as Obama on immigration.
Do you believe?
I'm really pushing for
Donald Trump says that 0 new people have come in illegally over the past year. Do you think that number is accurate?
I think it's not. If you said 0, no. That's why I said
that's what he says. Trump
well,
says 0.
Again, par for the course. Liar.
So he lied.
Is it substantially reduced? Obviously.
So why are you happy now with his immigration policy when you just admitted that you can't trust any of the numbers? How do you even know how many people are coming in?
I can't trust any of the numbers.
Okay.
I admitted that he's a liar.
So he lies about the numbers on the border. 30 million people probably didn't come in. We know 0 didn't come in illegal over the past year and a half. That's insane,
be quite
right?
impossible.
And he says he's deported 2 million a year. So you can't trust any of the numbers. How do you even know anything about the border being improved?
Like I said, like
because Fox
Biden
News has told you to think.
Officer Nasty says, yeah, that went great for them, Connor. 45,000 dead. It's because they didn't have Starlink terminals and AK-47s. They didn't have enough Starlink terminals and AK-47s. Okay. I'm just fucking... You know what? Kamala Harris, brat. Here you go, okay? I'm just... We're going to have a brat amnesty real quick, okay? Okay, here you go. Okay, you guys clearly, very clearly want to fucking, y'all just want to fucking lib the fuck out. So I'm going to give you an opportunity. Okay, we're just going to watch a Kamala Harris brat compilation because clearly this is what you want.
Well, what we really need